Today is Saturday, May 24th. This is the yellow birch that I fire hardened yesterday, and I hydrated it all day long into the evening right before dinner, and then I let it dry up in the house a little bit. And that evening, yesterday evening, I epoxied buffalo horn tips that I shaped on this. And what I did was I took down the wood a little bit of an angle to match the horn tips. Okay, so today's the day we're going to tiller this bow. Before I start the micro tillering process, I just want to go over a couple of things. I have tillering marks at the fade outs, okay, and I have marks on both sides of the fade outs. And what I do is I measure them. So this is like 5/8 here, and it's 5/8 here, and 5/8 here, and 5/8 here. I try to get the fade outs even so I could have a nice even bend. Then you see wherever you put your horn tips or whatever, at the bottom, which happens to be 1.25 inches, that's where I put the other tillering mark, okay? I put a tillering mark here. Then I measure from this tillering mark at the fade out to that mark on the bottom of the horn tip, and I measure the midpoint. And that's where I get the midpoint. And those are my 3 micro tillering marks that I'm going to be using today. And I have a little light center line here just so I could center it in the tillering stick. And I use the yardstick for the bend. Don't look at the bend of the bow and the house because the post isn't even. I'm not cementing it in. It moves left to right. And I just pay attention only to the yardstick. You can see the back set we have from the fire hardening. I'm going to go down level or a little past level. And now we're going to check out the tillering marks from the fade out to the end by the horn tip. And we're going to check it out, see what it looks like. It's kind of a pretty good bend we got going on. We just have a little bit on the outer here that's got to come off. But we really have a pretty nice bend for the first bend. Let's check over here. Over here, we even have a better bend. I'm not even going to take anything off from here. So this side is bending less, so I'm going to remove a little material from that flat spot, and I'm going to take a few strokes off from this limb. And then I'm going to measure from the center point to see if they're bending even. But not bad for the first bend. I removed some material from this flat spot that I saw on the end here, and because that side was bending more and I felt it was heavy, I took off about 40 strokes on this side and about 30 on that side. So let's see what we got. Okay, we still have a little bit on the outer here that we got to remove. And let's see what kind of a bend we got measurement-wise here. We got 3/8. 3/8. Let's see what we got on this side. We've still got a great bend going on over here. And we got a 1/2 inch. So some more material's got to come off the end first, and then overall on this side, and we'll come back. So not bad for the second time up on the tillering tree. Okay, this is the third time. Let's check it out. Finally got this bending. Finally got the end bending here. And we got 5/8. And we got 5/8, and we're going to go down another inch. And I can feel the weight. I'm going to need a lot of weight reduction soon. I'm going to see if anything jumps out going down another inch here. We got a really nice bend going on. All right, just going to check it out one more time here. Got 7/8. We got 7/8. Let me feel the weight on this here. We've got to go down another inch or not, or I got to reduce weight. I'm going to reduce some weight. It's too heavy. Matter of fact, I'll get the scale just to show you that these numbers right now are not draw length. These right are reference points because we have the loose string. So we're at that. We look level here. Between 22 and 23, we're going to see what kind of weight we have. Let's see how heavy it is. We're at 47 pounds, okay? We're at 47 pounds, and we're nowhere near, we're just starting, we're nowhere near putting a string on. So I'm going to start taking weight off and then come back. Figured I'd show you how I do weight reduction. I make even strokes on both limbs. And I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm going to do 20 strokes, 10 on each side, and I'll show you what I do. I hold my hand flat on the top, and I do 10 strokes, and then I'm going to go on the other side because you may lean a little bit on towards one side or favor one side, and I'm going to do the other 10 on the other side. And that's how I reduce the weight. Let's see how I did. Okay, we're at that 1 inch mark. We're at that 1 inch mark. Let's go down another inch. Got a good bend. There's nothing that jumps out that's really not bending well. Just so you know, the inners I allow to be just a little bit at the beginning, a little bit stiffer, just a little bit. Okay, we almost got 1.25 inches. We got 1.25 inches. Okay, we have 1.125 going on here now. So this one here is just a little shy of that 1.25 inches. I'm going to just double check it. Okay, we're going to remove just a little bit on this limb, and then we're going to come back. This is important. I figured I'd mention it, that as I'm removing material, and so far, I must have took down about 70 strokes because I know it was very heavy. And what I did was I did 10, 5 on each side, and then 5 on each side, came back, checked the weight, back and forth, back and forth. So I didn't check it yet, but we want to make sure, every time I did, I made sure the bend was even. So also, the other thing is where you have the marks at the fade out, I want you to measure the marks at the fade out to make sure that they're even. Okay, so if one's a little thicker, bring it down, make sure that these marks are even. The fade outs will be thicker, tapering down, but make sure that they're even. This is especially important on a recurve, and you ever notice when you throw on a string that the string is really out of whack? A lot of times it has to do with the fade outs being uneven, okay? Just figured I'd mention that. So now that I took like 70 strokes off, let's just see how we're doing. Okay, we got 1 3/8 inches. We got 1 3/8 inches. So we got this even, and we're going to pull it down a little bit more. We'll exercise it a little bit. And let's see how far we got to go till we get to a string. All right, we're inching our way closer, but we still got a ways to go before we put on a string. So let's see how much weight it is. And like I said, these marks, because it's a long string, are nothing more than a reference point. When we pull it down to a little below this 22.5, let's see what kind of weight we got. Okay, we got 40 pounds. We still have 40 pounds on this before we can put a string on it. And I'd like to get around the 45-pound bow, just so you know. So back to a little more weight reduction. I took off 40 strokes, got like 37 pounds. So let's see how it's bending. Right now we got 1 3/4, it looks like. And we got 1 3/4. And we're almost at the point where we're going to put a string on it. Put down a little more. Okay, we're at 2 here. And it's hard to tell here. And we're almost at 2 here. But what I want to show you something now. Now we're getting ready to put a string on, okay? And at this point now, I want to show you how it looks, the bend wise. And we really got a nice bend going on both sides. And the inners may appear to be a little stiff. You know, a little stiff, the inners. So we're going to work on the inners a little bit now, because now we're getting to the point where we're going to put a string on. So I'm going to rework these. There's a little bit of a flat spot here on this inners. And we're going to do a little work on the inners here. Just a little bit. I want to get them bending just a little bit more before I put the string on. Tiny bit. Okay, I just want to show you that 60 grit sandpaper. I worked the inners a little more. And I got the inners bending a little bit more now. You got to be careful. You don't want to create a hinge ever. I usually wait till I'm about ready to put a string on before I do a little final touching up. Okay, we got everything. It looks like a nice bend going on. We got a little more of a bend going on here. Right here, maybe a little bit more. Overall, it's looking good. Okay, after about 80 strokes of weight reduction, and then I sanded a little bit here, got the inner limbs bending a little bit more. We got a string on, and the one limb on the outer wasn't bending as much, and I took a little material off, and now we have everything even. But before we put it on and pull it down and check it, the string grooves, I want to make a little deeper. I could feel the edges. I want them buried in the wood. So a little more, a few strokes with the chainsaw file. I want to make them a little deeper, and then we'll come back and check it out on the tillering stick. Okay, I made the string grooves a little deeper, and everything is absolutely even and perfect. We got a 6-inch brace height, which when I cut out for my hand to go in will be at least 6.5, I would say. So we're going to put it up here on this tillering tree, and we're going to check out the pounds that we got. I'm going to pull this down to a 20-inch draw, and we're going to see how it's bending. Okay, it's looking really good. Looking really good. I'm only going to go down to the 26.5 inch that I am. I think the inners are a little stiff. Okay, it's looking good. That's a 20-inch draw. I'm going to take a little bit off the inners and then come back. Okay, I removed a little bit more material on the inners. Everything's even. I round the edges before I put the string on. I round the edges every time I put the string on, I round the edges when I remove material. We're at that point now. Okay, I got a little bit more movement. That's what I want. I don't want no real stiff inner. Okay, I do have a little more movement there. And I say my draw length is only 26.5. So let's see what kind of weight we got. And that'll depend where I'm going to take material off. The numbers I have on the right are actual draw length. Okay, we got 45 pounds up my draw length. 45 pounds up my draw length. I'm going to pull it down real quick and just look at it. I'm going to pull it down to maybe 24. Just lock it up and look at it quick. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to shape the handle. Let me show you the profile, how it looks. Because it always looks better than when it's up on a stick. Okay, I'm going to make sure I got it right. Yep, this is the top for sure. Always, the string always favors one side, and I knew it was this side. But it don't hurt to double check. Let's check that profile one more time. Okay, I'm going to shape the handle up. So here's my yellow birch hunting bow. That's 45 pounds or so. At my draw length of 26.5 inches, I shaped up the handle. I just want to show you how nice it looks. And now that I showed you how nice it looks, guess what I'm going to do? Okay, it's got a little bit of string follow almost, you know. I'm going to fire harden this one more time, then recheck it on a tiller, and then I'll show you shooting it. I had this very mild backset jig, and I'm going to cook this yellow birch one more time. Surprisingly, I don't get a reading on it. I don't get a reading on this. Let me try it again. No reading, which means it's 4% or less moisture. I got the second yellow birch on the backset jig, a mild backset jig. And I'm going to cook it for a couple hours because it had a little string follow just after tillering, and it made a really nice bow. But I'd rather take a chance of ruining it than be unhappy with it. And if you saw my sassafras video, I made a beautiful bow out of sassafras, and it had some string follow. And I said, what do I got to lose? Let me cook it twice. So I fire hardened it twice, and that sassafras bow made an incredible bow. So now the first holly bow I made, I was almost tempted, and I should have fire hardened that twice, that wet holly, the first wet holly that I had, because it's a very wet wood. And I should have fire hardened that twice, but I didn't. And it has a little string follow, but I left it because it shoots so incredible. It really is an incredible shooting bow. Now I have the second holly on a little bit more backset jig, and inside in the house, and that's got so much moisture in it. It just ain't getting rid of the moisture. When I'm done with this, I'm going to hang it over it. It'll be, you know, getting dark. It's 3 o'clock. This is going to go to 5. I'm going to throw the holly on for a little bit too, just to let it get some moisture out. And I'm sure that's going to have to be fire hardened for sure, guaranteed, the holly twice, because the first time it's just going to get some moisture out of it. So I'm hoping that this takes that mild set, because this is a mild backset jig, and we're going to get a nice bow out of it, a little better bow than I started with. Clamps are loose already. Okay, I won't bore you with showing you me fire hardening this twice, but you got the idea from the first one. So it's going to go, it's going to cook a couple hours, and then the next video you'll see me at some point, because I'm going to hydrate it tonight once it's done cooking. Tomorrow or whenever, I'll put a string on it again and get it even. I'll have to retiller it a little probably, and we'll see what kind of bow we got. I'm very happy with the color we achieved for the second cook for this yellow birch hunting bow that I'm making. And the name of this bow is going to be Twice Baked. Twice Baked is the name of it. So I'm going to hydrate it, put water in it tonight after it cools. And then we're going to just put a string on it, check the tiller, and get it pulling back and see what it looks like tomorrow. Has 2 coats of warm satin polyurethane on it. Looks really good. I put the specs on. The second fire hardening really gave it some beautiful color. It's actually 42 at 26 with the brace height set correctly and a knock. Look how beautiful. Look at the color. Look at the browning. What a beautiful bow. Very happy with this one. Okay, it's the next afternoon. It's Sunday, May 25th. Look how beautiful this bow turned out. Look at the fire hardening. See how brown the limbs got? I put the name on it. Look how beautiful. Twice baked. Twice baked. Some bows, like I had made a bow out of sassafras, and after I made it, it started to have a little string follow. Just after a couple of shots. I really didn't shoot it a lot. I said, I'm going to fire harden it again. So I fire hardened it twice, and it made a great shooting bow. I have a holly bow, first holly bow I made, which you saw. There'll be a video coming out with the second holly bow, if it don't break. And it was so saturated with water that it has a little string follow. And I was going to fire harden that again. But I didn't, because it was such an incredible shooting bow. It's a really accurate, smooth shooting bow with just that tiny little bit of string follow. But I decided to cook this one, and I'm glad I did. It looks really good. So now we're going to do a little shooting. We have some Easton Legacies with 125 grain tips. They're 500 spine. This bow is 42 pounds. I'm going to try and take a couple of shots at that bear and see how it shoots. Wow, look how fast. This thing is incredibly fast. Wow, I'm very happy with this. Okay, let me see if I can put one down in the middle of these things here. Close enough. Let's go take a look. First time shooting this bow. Incredible group, right? Twice Baked is the name of this bow. All right, so that's the end of this video. I just wanted to show you you can fire harden the bow, you know, twice if you feel it necessary, you know, and it makes a great bow. Once again, this is yellow birch from a friend's property upstate New York. Okay, thanks for watching. Every day that you get up is a great day. Make the best out of it. Go out and do something. Anything. Go out and shoot. Maybe cut down a whitewood tree and fire harden it and make a bow. Have a good day. Thanks for watching.